2, 1, go. And I will switch the OBS for everyone to see this game. Hello guys, and welcome back to the Escape Gaming Masters Round 2 now. Upper bracket between the Viper and Slam. Joining me today, or now, is Resonance22.
Yes, hello everybody. It's an honor to be here today. I'll be casting the ZeroEmpires for the Escape Gaming Masters Tournament number 1, and there will be a second one actually coming later in February, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. In this tournament, the top Age of Empires 2 experts will be playing from a pool of 10 civilizations, selected from the 3 new expansions on Steam. And my first game of the day is going to be the Viper versus Slam on the map Hideout.
Yeah, we've got down to the south, the Viper in the blue. He's taken the Ethiopians here. And across the wood line, this very... well, it looks thick now, but it's going to be a very thin wood line as this game goes on. We have Slam playing in the red as the Vietnamese. And I know you're recording this for YouTube because of that intro. That was very good.
Thank you. I always try to provide a little bit of extra context for people, especially for anyone who's just tuning into the live stream now. So basically, this is something that I mentioned before the game starts, but Hideout is a somewhat reasonably aggressive map because you only have palisade walls at the start to protect yourself, and like Zach just mentioned, this wood line right here is quite a precarious situation as players will be able to tread each other on the other side of that, threaten to cut through that, and we see the lumber camps going down right next to each other.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys, right from minute 2, are going to be cutting towards each other slowly but surely, and you can bet by the time they reach the Imperial Age, if the game goes that long, that they will be very close together. We could see some towers in here, we could see trebs like you said, or since we're playing on the expansions, we could see onagers cutting through because you don't need the siege onager to do that. Now, there is obviously another wood line to the right because it kind of, it's like a big T shape. You can cut over on this right side, but yeah, for now, both players cutting towards each other. So the Civs, Ethiopians, and Vietnamese, what do you kind of think we're going to see from the Viper here as the Ethiopians?
Well, the Ethiopians, I think, are a civilization where players put a rather unfair emphasis on the Shoto warrior unique unit. I think that one of the main defining strengths of the Ethiopians is actually their Archer's Fire plus 15% faster bonus, so I think that seeing some sort of crossbowman aggression is potentially a possibility. I don't really expect to see Shoto warriors here, mostly because the Vietnamese are such a strong archer civ as well that I feel like the Shoto warriors don't really serve that much of a purpose, but they could come into play anyway.
Now, we did see a matchup earlier on Arena that was Vietnamese versus Ethiopians, actually, and we did see the Ethiopian player making quite a bit of siege. I think it was even Slam actually playing. So the shoe was on the other foot. Slam was actually playing as the Ethiopians. And that was against Tim. He actually knocked Tim down to the lower bracket, playing as the Ethiopians there. And with that, you know, it's very possible that just a siege-heavy build from the Viper here could trump most of what the Vietnamese has to offer, because they're both archer civilizations, and arguably the Vietnamese is the better archer civ when you only compare the archers.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I think that if the game actually does go to the Imperial Age, we're going to see a very heavy siege-based army comp, something focused around the Torsion Engine's unique technology, which does improve the blast radius of all their siege weapons. The Vietnamese actually have quite a bit of trouble dealing with that. I believe that they do not have husbandry for their cavalry units, and without having things like paladins and whatnot, they're very slow battle elephants. They're going to have quite a bit of difficulty, I think, breaking through that siege comp from the Ethiopians. So I'm curious to see how Slam would respond if the game gets to that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Ethiopians have a completely open siege workshop. Now, I can't remember, but do the Vietnamese get the bombard cannon? Because that could be very crucial as the game goes on, and it does look like they do. So that could be something that the Vietnamese are definitely going to be looking for as the game gets to the later stages, for sure. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. I mean, we could see this game really ramp up in pressure from the early Castle Age. It's unlikely to see feudal aggression, but with only having palisade walls, the aggression or the opportunities for aggression, they're certainly there.
Yeah, that was basically exactly what I was going to mention, is that since the Vietnamese do have bombard cannons, they certainly stand a chance against the Ethiopians in the late game. Is a great way to deal with those siege onagers. And I do think that some Castle Age aggression is viable on Hideout, so we could end up seeing a bit of that, because the Palisade walls do discourage Feudal Age aggression, but once things get to the Castle Age, these Palisade walls just do not hold.
Sure. Now, something that we do see, though, a lot is players actually walling the edge of the map. And if we look on this left side, it's not a huge wall to make, really. You've just got a wall between the small tree patch at the edge of the map, and then the big tree is in the middle to the small patch. It's not a big wall, it's not too ambitious, and you can basically completely secure one side of the map. And with that, you can secure the extra gold spots, the stone piles, and put yourself into a great position. So, Viper and Slam probably going to be aggressing each other on the left side because it's such a long way to walk going around the top. And we might see that getting walled up, which could end up leading this into quite a long game. The question is, when do the walls come in, and whether or not they'll come in at all, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great point, is that even though the Palisade walls themselves don't really fend off aggression that well, the way the map is set up, it often ends up with both players just kind of splitting the map in half with some stone walls. So perhaps an early watchtower or something could deny that. And right now, it looks like the Viper has just clicked up to Feudal Age, and Slam actually gonna mix in a couple extra villagers, so I think that the Viper is probably trying to take advantage of the Ethiopians gaining 100 food and 100 gold every time they advance, and he might be going for something a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, that should give Viper the edge when going up to the Castle Age. And, you know, we spoke about this earlier in, with Nobody, actually. The fact that they do get that 100 food and 100 gold, it means that they could adapt their build order a little bit. There might not necessarily be a reason to build a mining camp and take gold, for example, if you're going to get 100 gold for free once you reach the Feudal Age. So Viper still opting to take some gold, and it looks like he will be going for a standard fast castle build. And at the same time, on the other side of the map, we've got Slam adding 2 additional villagers, which will be a lot slower, but potentially a lot stronger once he gets to the Castle Age himself.
Alright, just adjusting my audio level slightly. By the way, guys, how are the audio balance between me and Zach? Are we about close to even? It looks like the Viper is dropping a barracks, and right about now he's patrolling his scout. Again, they're just trying to make sure that they get the advantageous wall off here. The Viper would like to secure that gold mine on his side if he can, and it looks like he will be able to. His 2 villagers coming out now, which means he gets the first stone wall. The question is this for a stone wall, or is he going for something a little crazier?
Well, we see an archery range coming down. Interesting. Now, he's building this here because he can use this as like a wall off as well. So it's two purposes with one building. And it's kind of aggressive, isn't it? It looks like he wants to close the gap to his enemy as early as possible, so that as soon as he hits the Castle Age, he can be ready to go with the aggression. Now, in the bank at the moment, he's got 300 gold, and he's going to get another 100 gold for free when he hits Castle as well. So it really opens up the possibilities for the Ethiopians to be hyper-aggressive, and I think Viper's going to really enjoy that style, and certainly going down that route. But look at this, he's short on food.
That he is.
Where's the food going to come from?
Oh, if I had $1 for every time I've done that in my own game, I would be a rich, rich man. He's just a little bit short on food, and this is quite unfortunate for him because he only has a small handful of foragers and farmers. Only 2 on farms, and he had 2 on berries now, and now he's assigning another 2. He's going to have to do some panic force dropping off. This will slow him down by approximately 30 seconds or so. I don't think it will be game-changing, but oh gosh.
It's such a huge cock-up for him, really. The fact that he only had 1 farmer and 2 villagers on berries, and he needed to get 50 food to click up, that slowed him down a lot, actually. And although he was first to feudal, he's actually slightly slower to castle, or it's basically the same. I think it's almost identical.
I think it is identical. Wow.
And,
yeah,
and that means that Slam, sorry to interrupt you, just real quick, Slam has 29 population, whilst Viper also has 29, so never mind. Oh wait, no, he has
archers, yeah.
Yeah, so Slam's ahead in villagers by about 3.
Yeah, this is quite unfortunate for the Viper. Kind of taking away from one of those big advantages that the Ethiopians have, and the Vietnamese are just a classically slow civ in Age of Empires 2 without any sort of substantial true economic early game bonus. And well, the Viper had so few villagers on food because he's trying to go for a fast Castle Age and a Crossman, which I mentioned earlier on the game, and it's cool to see him actually go for that. It's an excellent strategy for the Ethiopians with their plus 15% faster firing rate, and then the extra food and gold that they get from advancing allows them to get a very consistent Bodkin arrow and crossbowman upgrade as well as fletching. It's going to be slower now, though, and Slam has plenty of time to prepare, perhaps with a defensive siege workshop of his own.
Well, if I was Slam right now, I'd be feeling pretty happy with this situation if he knew that he was 3 villages ahead and he's going to hit the castle age at the same time. That's a great advantage to have. Those 3 villagers working throughout the whole upgrade time to castle, giving Slam a really nice extra bank of resources. However, like you said, Viper is being very aggressive, and the Vietnamese are a very slow civ. So, although he's going to hit castle now, Viper's already here with quite a scary-looking army, breaking through this palisade wall, forcing Slam to quick wall and play a little more defensively. But look at this, Slam with a castle straight away, going straight into the Rattan archers, which are, of course, going to be fantastic at dealing with these archers and these soon-to-be crossbows from the Viper.
What a great game to start out the day for me today. I think that Slam is responding to this quite nicely with his makeshift wall off of houses. This will, of course, slow down the crossman aggression. In the early game, what you want to make sure that you do is create like a funnel underneath your town center, and that way the enemy units are just going to try and avoid taking as much free damage as possible. Slam with this castle, I think this is actually a great choice. The Rattan Archer is a unique unit that has very high pierce armor, so it's quite strong versus the Ethiopians here. Bodkin arrow down for the Viper. He is going to swing around and try and poke a hole in the palisade wall over here. Slam going to respond with a watchtower to delay this. And can the Viper do enough damage before the Rattan Archers push him back?
Well, this is the thing. He has got quite a large military advantage in numbers because Slam still doesn't have his castle up yet. It's just finishing, like, right about now. And at the same time, Viper's already sat outside of his walls with 10 crossbows or so, and probably more on the way. Though I say that, I look at his archery ranges, and I don't see... There we go, he's queued them up now. So he's going to commit to making these crossbows, and the Rattan archers counter the crossbows extremely well. The only thing here, though, is that Viper also has a mangonel. So crossbows breaking through, 2 villagers going down immediately for Slam. Slam could be in a bit of trouble, but those crossbows getting dangerously close to the castle, and Viper isn't bringing them back. No.
Absolute unmitigated disaster for the Viper, losing all of his crossbowmen almost for free. I mean, he got a couple nice kills on some villagers before he walked in there, but that entire army down, and that mangonel is taking so much damage from that watchtower because they had villagers inside it, and then the villagers ungarrisoned the last second just to deal the last bit of damage. Oh, that was such a struggle. Well, not only that, but, you know, it's just ridiculous. He nearly killed a villager in the wood line. I mean, it's not worth throwing your entire army away for it, though. Viper losing everything for nothing. And there was really no reason to not pull his army back like that for so long. So Slam now, equalizing in the numbers for military. They're both roughly about the same on military count. And he's also now got the counter to what Viper is creating. So this is a great position for Slam to be in. And I'd be really face-palming hard if I was Viper right now. Yeah, I mean, his one saving grace is that at least he got to delay Slam's gold mining for quite a bit, keeping all those villagers garrisoned inside there. By the way, we saw that mangonel... that's still obviously not enough, though. We saw that mangonel just get disintegrated by that watchtower there, and that is one of the main reasons why arrow slits was actually so strong around the release of African Kingdoms, is because mangonels, which are a common way to deal with these watchtowers and really strong in the Castle Age, if you just stack a couple villagers inside them, then inside a watchtower, it just shreds right through them, especially with arrow slits. Slam in a pretty solid position here. Absolutely. Slam, I mean, you have to bear in mind, okay, he's invested a lot of resources into building this castle. That's kind of costly, but it's allowing him to build a great counter unit at the moment. And I don't think Viper's in a position now where he's really benefiting from having this map control. And a lot of the times you want to gain the map control, it brings you some kind of benefit, but he's unable to really push against Slam. He's not really able to achieve anything with it, and so he's kind of just fallen back. He's now actually building his second TC, or just finishing it, and now he's going to focus a bit more on eco, I think, or at least building that up. I think that the Viper is responding to that disaster appropriately now, which is just by, cutting back a little bit on the crossbow production, just focus more on getting his economy back up, because that's how he's going to claw his way back into the game, is with his second town center. He is going to get it up before Slam's. Slam's is just kind of starting right about now. And Slam going to walk all the way around the long side of the map, going to try and do a counterattack on the Viper, And I think that this counterattack could prove to be very successful because the Viper doesn't quite have a clean answer to this. Ideally, he's going to want a Mangonel to defend himself at home, but since Slam it walked all the way around the other side of the map, it's going to be very difficult for the Viper to ever get a Mangonel into his own base. There's a wall off blocking the path.
Absolutely, he'd have to delete his own wall to bring the Mangonel back. What time are you in game, by the way? I'm at 22:25. I think you're a little bit behind.
You're 22:25? Oh, I'm actually very slightly ahead of you, so I'm gonna slow down for a little bit.
I slowed down. No, I'm at 22:36 now. I just slowed down slightly because I could tell you were a little bit behind me.
I'm at 22:54 right now and paused.
Okay, perfect. 22:54. Go! Alright, so Slam, the Rattan Archers, of course. Looking very good here, and upgrades are looking good as well. He's got 2 attack, 2 range from the Bodkin arrow, and the +1 defense. So that's a small upgrade advantage as well. He's going to be able to tank a lot of crossbow fire. Now, Viper doesn't have ballistics right now, so that army basically missed every single arrow. But he has actually got decent numbers still. I feel like he's actually got a reasonable number of crossbows here. I'm just wondering, Rattan Archers on the hill? Surely he's got a huge advantage still.
Oh yeah, he might be outnumbered, but I think this hill is absolutely going to turn this fight. And critically, Slam has padded archer armor, giving him that extra survivability. With only 4 pierce armor, I say only 4, but 4 is insane. 4 pierce armor in the Castle Age is quite nice, but he does have to make sure he keeps up his defensive upgrades to kind of match the Viper's offensive ones on his. And you're right, it looks like Slam will be able to at least hold the line here, but he is going to back off the hill, losing a Rattan Archer here. The Viper, by the way, he's stonewalled in one of the relics in front of Slam's base. That's pretty nice.
Oh, that's funny. I like that. I like it when players do a little bit of laning as well. He's actually got his villager on the very north side of the map, sort of walking along the edge, building some more sneaky buildings out there. That could be good later in the game because a lot of time on this map you see players building a lot of farms outside of their sort of palisade walls in the center of the map, or sorry, at the edge of the map. And if Viper sneaks like a stable there, he could easily raid that later on. So that's really nice to keep that there and keep that alive. So the Rattan Archer, yeah, with the 5 pierce armor, it means they only take 2 damage per arrow. If they get the +2 defense, they're actually super tanky versus these crossbows.
If you're able to actually keep up your defensive upgrades, then you take no damage at all. And that means that those engagements will just heavily go in favor of Slam. But still, taking only 2 damage a pop is certainly excellent as well. Both these armies are actually going to walk past each other. Slam getting chased by a bear. The Viper just putting buildings everywhere just so he can lame as many relics as possible and then make sure that he just gets some extra vision. Wow, both these armies juking each other. I can't help but feel, though, that Slam is in a little bit better position having his Rattan Archers over here and avoiding this fight, because I don't know what the Viper is necessarily going to harass with that army. Oh, here comes a fight.
Yeah, a little bit at the bottom here. I mean, Slam's obviously going to be able to take that if Viper sticks around to fight it. Slam, I just noticed just a second ago, did Loom. He's only just finished Loom at about 25 minutes of game time, so that's kind of saying something, really. Considering how aggressive Viper was being, the fact that Slam's only felt the need to do Loom now, I think Slam feels very much in control of this, and it shows. He's certainly taking good fights as well, cleaning up the army at the bottom, killing about 4 or 5 crossbows, losing just 1 Rattan Archer. This is so good for Slam. He's getting trades that are very favorable for him all over the map. And I'm wondering as well, it looks like Slam has ballistics. He has.
Some
That's
really
game-changing.
Absolutely it is, and the Viper with some very good focus fire is one of the best ways to deal with these tanky Rattan Archers, but it's absolutely not enough as they're so effective versus the crossbowmen. I try to avoid as much as possible putting myself in a situation where I'm allowing my opponent to make units that are really strong for that civilization, and that's the kind of situation that Slam is in right now. Really making full use out of his military units, and there's a Mangonel in the Viper's base. Can he land a good shot?
Well, the answer is no.
Not quite.
Yes, anyway. I mean, yeah, Slam here doing good upgrades on these Rattan Archers, actually. I think he misclicked and aimed at a villager there instead of the Mangonel. He's going to back out, and that's fine, to be honest. He's done a huge amount of damage to Viper's military. Slam currently on 24 Rattan Archers. Viper's down to just 5 crossbows and a Mangonel. And Viper clearly, as we saw on this hill earlier on, did have a military advantage at that point. Slam killing them off, trading it out, and really just pumping out the Rattan archers now, sending them across the map to group up together and do some damage to Viper's economy. I'm disappointed that Viper wasn't more aggressive this game. I feel like he could have benefited from really pressuring Slam with mangonels. At the same time, Slam's castle would have made it hard to actually do too much damage there.
Especially because Slam didn't have Loom in the early game like you mentioned earlier. I mean, this is the type of map like Arena that really encourages players to delay Loom as much as possible because you know the Feudal Age rush is not coming, and well, that's an excellent opportunity usually for a nice Castle Age Crossbone rush to just pick off so many free villagers, and that just didn't happen this game. Slam in such a commanding position, I can't help but feel like he's really just playing this immaculately, like when those two armies just juked each other, that allowed Slam to get so many favorable engagements, and poor the Viper had to build another siege workshop in his own base because his forward one, he just can't really use it for anything right now. And it's just little things like that that really add up.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. And Slam's microing his army fantastically well. I did a little instant replay of him taking down that mangonel there. And now he's inside of Viper's economy, killing villagers all over the place. And like you said, he'd had to build that second siege workshop as well. So it's kind of like wasted resources. There's not really many reasons to have to build a second siege workshop in the early Castle Age. But Slam now denying all of this wood, really disrupting Viper's economy, and there's no chance that Viper is ahead in villagers now. Slam is just really coming in from all sides and doing some great raiding.
Yeah, Viper's been really trying to get his economy going, and I think that was definitely the right decision, but he just cannot keep up with his military. The only thing that he has left going for him is that he does have a castle of his own, but really this isn't going to accomplish too much. It protects a bunch of his farmers and his gold miners, and the Viper kind of shifting his economy outside of his own base. I don't think Slam is aware of this castle or that all this eco is over there. So he's just trying to really sneakily, cleverly gather some resources outside of his own base. But what exactly is he waiting for? He's got this market. He's got another mangonel coming. The mangonel is the go-to comeback unit in a situation like this. If he can get a good shot, maybe the Viper stands a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it can completely turn a game around, but Slam's playing well because he's splitting his army up. He's not allowing it to just be clumped together. He's using the wide stance so that they're not grouped really closely, just asking to be killed off by a mangonel. I do like Viper's castle on the left side. It does protect his gold. It does allow him to farm safely. And so he's certainly not out of this game at this stage. But look at these mangonels. They're going down so quickly here. And these Rattan archers, just so much survivability. When they've got 6 pierce armor, they can even tank the CCs, but the big mangonel shot coming in, that was nice. That's what Viper needs, but it's still not enough. He needs more of that, more of the same.
Yeah, Slam with happy feet all game finally gets caught out by one of these mangonel shots, and another thing that I think makes the Rattan Archer so strong as a unit in a situation like this is that the Rattan Archer has 6 base attack, and since mangonels can't get their defense upgraded, they actually take 2 damage from these Rattan Archers, which is really the breaking point here. Whereas crossbowmen have a lot more trouble actually dealing with the Castle Age mangonel. The Viper holding the line, solid castle too.
Well, the castle at least will secure his wood line. And there's also another good reason to have a castle there, because we spoke about it right at the start of the game, but the fact that these wood lines are getting closer and closer together as the game goes by. Slam slowly but surely chopping in, Viper very heavily chopping in towards Slam's side of the map, and that could also be an opportunity to really turn the course of the game. But Viper, he still has enough stone for another castle, and I feel like he's really placing the emphasis in maybe not the wrong places, but certainly not in the places that's going to win him the game, which is taking so much stone, building so many defensive buildings, and just handing it to Slam at the moment.
Yeah, Slam with a huge aggressive movement on the top side of the map, also dropping his own forward house, so both players mirroring each other, each with their house on each other's side of the map. The Viper with really nice mangonel defense here, but it looks like once again Slam kind of going to get away scot-free with all of this sick formation abuse, getting his military units to split up. He will escape from this engagement.
Absolutely. Honestly, Slam's micro has been so impressive, both in Battle for Angkor and in the Escape Game Masters today as well. He's always on point with his micro. Great micro out against the mangonels, and now coming in with a castle on the hill. Let's not forget as well, Slam's on the way to the Imperial Age right now. Viper, he's about to click up, but Slam's certainly going to be a lot faster there. I think Viper even had to abuse his market a little bit in order to click up to the next stage. He must have sold some resources or something. He's also building a third castle, so with this many castles, it would be nice to be able to use them for another purpose than just static defense, right? But I don't think the show tells are going to make any sense here at all.
Yeah, unless we start seeing some different units from Slam, but I guess they can kind of be used because of Royal Heirs, where they just spawn nearly instantly. I still don't think so. The Viper gonna mix in some elite skirms with his army. He's defending himself quite nicely, but Slam has so much map control. This forward castle is also going to deny a gold mine from the Viper. And even though the Viper is holding on, he's going to need something to claw his way back in the game. But the game is not necessarily over, and the reason I say this is because the Viper is at least able to get to the Imperial Age. If he wasn't, then there's absolutely nothing he can do.
That's true, and he's going to have the advantage in castles, so in theory, he should be able to trap this castle down from Slam, as Slam hits the Imperial Age right now. But I find this quite funny. Slam's had his relics walled up on his side of the map, so he's built a monastery on Viper's side, and he's going to go and take those ones instead. Just quite amusing.
Oh my god. I mean, that's one way to secure that gold income.
Exactly. And Viper now losing access to the gold on the front. Even these villagers gathering the gold here are in a bit of a dangerous position. I think they are in range of the castle. Yeah, there you go. Castle going to be attacking that as well. And so Viper now really being starved of resources. All the farms on the left side going idle because of the raiding. Slam in full control.
The Viper, I mean, the game's not over, but it's as close to over as it gets without being over, as the Viper not quite up to the Imperial Age, and when your opponent gets the Imperial Age before you, it's Trebin time! He's gonna have to waste so much stone repairing this, and I wonder if the Viper is, like, his only hope, the one thing that he thinks he can do to win this game is maybe chop through that wood line and get into Slam's base and just kill his eco. I think that's what he's stalling for, and that's maybe the only thing that could possibly get him back in this. But he has to keep these castles alive.
It looks so grim, Viper, right now. There's just so many idle villagers. There's just so much pressure. He's losing this castle over here. I think, you know, he really wants to get the Trebs out and at least try and defend the Treb push from Slam, but yeah, I mean, the other solution, of course, like you said, cut through and just try and raid Slam's eco and catch him off guard. But he'd have to do a huge amount of damage in order to equalize right now. And I don't think that's possible realistically. Slam is way too far ahead at this stage. He's really got all of the control here. And I think it's up to Slam to make the mistake right now.
Yeah, the Viper with his back up against the wall, his population's so low, a solid 150 for Slam and only 90 for the Viper. He's just kind of stagnated, unable to get that population count further up. He will lose one of his castles. He at least has his own Trebs for a counter-Treb war. Oh, the Viper has chemistry coming down. None of this, I think, is going to be enough to turn this game. And here comes the Onager. Aha.
Yeah, I mean, Onager is the big one, and I think he did chemistry for the Bombard Cannon. As you can see, that's coming out now. So, okay, he's finally doing what the Ethiopians can do really well, and that is the siege. So, yeah, probably stalling out for that. It's still questionable. I mean, he's lost his castle here. And, okay, yeah, the Onagers are going to be great at dealing with the Rattan Archers. But that's just one unit in Slam's arsenal, and Slam so far has really just been doing a one-unit army composition. He could easily switch, and there you go. Stable's coming down right behind this castle here. He knows what he needs. He just needs a bit of cavalry, and he can break this line of siege. It's going to be no problem.
I think it's worth noting that the Viper didn't really make knights earlier on in the game because Ethiopian knights, I mean, while their Knight Rush can be very strong because the extra 150 food and 150 gold, their knights are crap. The Ethiopians have a very, very bad stable with no bloodlines, and I don't think they get plate barding armor either. I'm curious to see what we're going to see from Slam's stables. It looks like he's going for knights, so no battle elephants right now, but I think that's totally fine. The knights will be more than sufficient.
There's literally no reason to make battle elephants here because you need fast-paced units. Like, running at siege with battle elephants, okay, they might close the gap eventually, but knights should be the preferable option, and they are upgraded to cavalier now as well. Obviously, they don't have the paladin upgrade, but cavalier is more than good enough with bloodlines as well. Now, like you said, Viper could make knights, he could have made knights, but yeah, they don't get bloodlines, the Ethiopians. They don't have the final defense upgrade either, I don't think. So it's just bad news if you go for Knights. It's not a long-term solution.
And especially because Rattan Archers
right
have such
now-
a respectable attack stat.
Oh, absolutely. The extra attack that they get is, like you said, it's great for dealing with the Mangonels. It's also really potent against Knights, especially if they can back themselves into a corner. But here come the Cavalier from Slam. Let's see if he can just end this. I mean, Viper's got nothing to protect his siege. Normally, in a normal situation, you have a wall of Haubs or just something.
The Viper with
Viper's
just a
gonna see this
really...
coming.
Oh, he's going to call GG. I was going to say, with a really well-crafted defense. But the thing is that in Age of Empires 2, or really in any game, you want to be playing to win, not playing to not lose. And here the Viper didn't really have much of a winning play, maybe beyond somehow cutting into Slam's base, but he hasn't had an opportunity to do that because he had to defend. The siege units were being so effective at keeping him in the game, until, of course, Slam made that critical transition into Cavaliers, which ended up winning in the game. So, GG, well played.
Yeah. That was literally the game-winning move right there from Slam, just the addition of those Cavalier, because, like I say, there's no defense from that, from Viper there, and he did do a great job defending to a point. I feel like his defense could have been better. Let's be honest, on the left side, this castle was a great idea, but it really didn't protect his farms and his gold, because Slam raiding with the Rattan Archers did a huge amount there, and also with the castle on this left side as well, he was able to deny the gold. So Viper not only just getting countered hard in the late game, but also being starved of resources. He had no access to gold, and you can't go into the post-Imperial Age with no gold income. It's not doable.
Yeah, he made that market, which helped him stay in the game, but it just wasn't enough. You really need to secure those gold mines, like you said, and Slam, as we can tell from looking at the achievements, he had a nice solid 33 villager lead, 95 extra relic gold. Slam was ahead for a good game-changing relics. Slam was ahead for a really big chunk of the game, and it all kind of boils down to a couple unfortunate engagements for the Viper that just really snowballed it out of control.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty close up to the Castle Age. I think, Viper did make that crucial mistake in the Castle Age, or the Feudal Age as well, by having a slower castle time. If you have a look, he was ahead by nearly a minute going up to Feudal, but then he was only ahead by 2 seconds going to Castle. In the meantime, Slam was up by 3 villages during this period. So Slam had a really respectable economy going into the Castle Age, and that allowed him to get that castle up very quickly without really sacrificing anything else. He was able to achieve that castle and start pumping the Rattan Archers. And this is the first time we've seen the Vietnamese actually being used in this way, really, and being used successfully with the Rattan Archers. Because we saw this very matchup earlier on, Ethiopians versus the Vietnamese on Arena, and it was the other way around completely. The Ethiopians dominated it.
Yeah, and I think that goes to show that this matchup is actually a lot closer than it seems, and that both civs really did have tools to deal with each other. Slam just had a really, really well-crafted game.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It was a really entertaining game as well, and you don't see Viper lose very often, but remember Battle for Angkor, he did get knocked down to the lower bracket, and Viper will be knocked down to the lower bracket once again. Slam will progress, Viper will have to fight his way out of the bottom. So we're going to throw it over to Nilpford now, and he's going to do our analysis.